Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that really tries to get under the skin of some fascinating ideas.
That's the plan.
And today, we're tackling something huge, something really universal. The search for happiness. It's kind of weird, isn't it?
How so?
Well, we live now with so much comfort, knowledge, connection, all these things. But I don't know, it feels like a lot of us are still feeling anxious or bored, like life's just slipping by.
Yeah, that paradox is real. We have more stuff, more convenience, but maybe less, real fulfillment. It's something thinkers have wrestled with for ages.
Like who?
Well, you've got J.S. Mill, who basically said, look, if you chase happiness directly, you'll never catch it. It's slippery.
Ah, okay. Like trying too hard.
Exactly. And then someone like Viktor Frankl, he came at it differently. He saw happiness as more of a side effect, something that happens to you when you're dedicated to something bigger than yourself, a purpose, a cause.
That makes sense. It just ensues. I like
Hmm.
that. And that actually tees up our deep dive perfectly today. We're getting into Csikszentmihalyi's really landmark work, his book Flow, The Psychology of Optimal Experience.
A classic.
It really is. Now, this isn't going to be, 5 easy steps to happiness. That's not the goal here.
No quick fixes.
Right. Our mission is more to explore the principles, the ideas, and some real examples of how people take ordinary lives, or even really tough lives, and make them, well, deeply enjoyable. The hope is that you, listening, can start to see how you might take control of your own inner experience, build a life that feels truly worth living.
Moving from theory to practice, hopefully.
Exactly. So let's dive in. What exactly is this thing Csikszentmihalyi called flow?
Okay, let's unpack it. Basically, flow is a state of total involvement, complete absorption in an activity. He describes it as a state where nothing else seems to matter.
Total focus.
Total focus. The experience itself is just so enjoyable and inherently rewarding that people will do it even if it's difficult or costly, just for the sheer sake of doing it.
I think we can all relate to that on some level. Getting lost in, I don't know, playing music or coding or even a really great conversation sometimes.
Those moments of deep engagement.
But it sounds like it's more than just feeling good,
Well,
right?
yeah.
Like it's not just pleasure.
That's a really important distinction he makes. We often mix up flow with just, pleasure. Pleasure is, feeling content when a need is met. You're hungry, you eat, you're bored, you watch a show.
Passive consumption almost.
Yeah, often passive. It feels good, obviously, but it's fleeting. It doesn't really lead to growth or development. Enjoyment, on the other hand, that's the territory of flow.
Okay, so what's enjoyment then?
Enjoyment involves moving forward somehow. There's a sense of novelty, of accomplishment. It often requires effort, maybe even struggle. It might not feel pleasurable in the simple sense, not like eating ice cream.
Right, like learning a difficult skill can be frustrating.
Exactly. But afterwards, you feel like you've changed, you've grown, become a bit more complex. And that requires, as he puts it, an unusual investment of attention. You have to really focus.
Okay, so it's the difference between, say, vegging out watching TV versus really wrestling with a tough problem or learning a new language. One is easy pleasure, the other is hard-won enjoyment.
You've got it. And this enjoyment leads to what Csikszentmihalyi calls the optimal state of inner experience, which is having order in consciousness.
Order in consciousness, what does that look like?
It's when your attention, your sort of mental energy, is invested in realistic goals. And crucially, when your skills are well matched to the challenges you're facing, it's in those moments when you're actively striving, pushing your boundaries, that people paradoxically report feeling their best.
Interesting. So it's not about avoiding challenges. It's about engaging with them in the right way.
Precisely. The struggle itself becomes the reward.
How on earth did he study this, though? I mean, optimal experience sounds so subjective.
Yeah, it is. He developed a really clever method called the experience sampling method, or ESM.
ESM.
Yeah. Basically, participants carried pagers. This was pre-smartphones, remember?
just pagers.
Yeah. And at random times, the pager would beep, and they'd have to write down what they were doing, who they were with, what they were thinking, and how they were feeling right at that moment.
Wow, like little snapshots of their inner life.
Exactly, like a written film clip, he called it. And over time, collecting thousands of these snapshots gave him this incredibly rich, data-driven picture of when people felt engaged, happy, challenged when they were in flow.
That's clever. So, okay, we know what flow is, but to really get it, maybe we need to understand the opposite. Like, why aren't we in flow all the time? What causes that discontent you mentioned?
Right. He talks about psychic entropy, but before that, he touches on some fundamental obstacles. One big one is just the universe itself. It wasn't designed with our comfort in mind.
Huh. Yeah, tell me about it.
It's just indifferent, as one writer put it. A meteorite, a virus, a natural disaster. These things happen, and they don't really care about our plans or desires.
That's a humbling thought. We expect things to go our way, but reality doesn't always cooperate.
And we humans seem to add to that baseline indifference with our own chronic dissatisfaction. Even when things are objectively pretty good, we often find ourselves wanting more, comparing ourselves, feeling like something's missing.
The grass is always greener.
Always. And cultures, societies, they try to help. They build these shields, myths, religions, belief systems to give us a sense of order and protect us from that feeling of chaos.
Which can be helpful, surely.
They can be, but he warns about having an unrealistic trust in the shields, because when those external systems inevitably falter or fail, think of empires collapsing or deeply held beliefs being shattered, the disillusionment can be extreme.
And we often look for external fixes for what are really internal problems, like fad diets or, I don't know, trying to buy happiness.
Exactly. These piecemeal solutions, as he calls them, they don't address the root cause, which is often internal, and this internal struggle, this lack of inner order, leads to what he terms psychic entropy.
Psychic entropy. Okay, break that down.
Think of it as inner disorder, mental chaos. It happens when information comes into your consciousness that conflicts with your goals or intentions.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, imagine Julio is driving to a crucial job interview, and suddenly, bang, flat tire. All his attention gets hijacked by panic, worry about being late, fear of losing the opportunity. His consciousness is thrown into disarray. That's psychic entropy.
Right. Or Jim, the teenager whose parents are divorcing, his whole sense of stability is shaken, making it hard to focus on school or anything else.
Exactly. That inner disorganization impairs the effectiveness of the self. It drains your mental energy, making it hard to pursue goals or even just feel okay. It's like trying to work at a desk buried under piles of junk.
A really cluttered mental space.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the problem. What's the solution, according to Flo? How do we fight entropy and find that order?
Well, the most crucial step, he argues, is learning to find rewards in the present moment, in the events of each moment, in the process of living itself.
Not just chasing future outcomes.
Right. It means taking charge of what happens in your mind, actively managing your inner world. It's a skill, really, something emphasized in disciplines like yoga or Zen Buddhism for centuries.
And a big part of that is how we use our attention. You called it psychic energy earlier.
Exactly. Attention is psychic energy. It's the currency of consciousness. You can invest it wisely, focusing it on things that matter, or you can waste it on distractions or worries.
So being able to control your focus is key.
It's the hallmark of someone in control of their consciousness, the ability to focus at will, ignore distractions, concentrate for as long as needed, but not longer, to achieve a goal. It's like a mental muscle.
And you have to train it.
You absolutely do. And what directs that muscle, what orders our consciousness, are our intentions and goals. These arise from our desires, our values. And remarkably, we can use our intentions to override even basic biological programming.
Like choosing to fast for spiritual reasons, overriding hunger.
Precisely. It shows the power of conscious goals. But, and this is a fascinating point, our capacity for attention is actually quite limited.
How limited?
The nervous system can process maybe around 126 bits of information per second, which sounds like a lot, but think about everything bombarding us. We have to be incredibly selective.
So if we're processing 126 bits, what does that mean for, like, watching TV?
Well, that's the thing. Activities like passive TV watching might fill that channel, but they don't demand much active processing, memory, thinking, decision-making. It's easy information, but it doesn't challenge or grow us. A huge amount of free time gets soaked up by these low-demand activities.
Leading to low concentration, low satisfaction, basically wasting that precious psychic energy.
Pretty much. It keeps entropy at bay temporarily, maybe, but it doesn't build inner order or complexity.
Okay, so that makes it clear why we need activities that engage us more deeply. What makes an activity a flow activity? What are the key ingredients?
Csikszentmihalyi identifies several core elements. The first one, and maybe the most important, is the balance between challenges and skills.
Okay, explain that.
Think about playing tennis. If your opponent is way too good, you just get frustrated and anxious. If they're too easy, you get bored really fast.
Right. No fun either way.
Exactly. Flow happens in that sweet spot, that channel where the challenges presented by the activity are just right for your current skill level. You feel stretched, but capable. You're pushed, but not overwhelmed.
So you need to be constantly adjusting, finding slightly harder challenges as your skills improve.
Precisely. It keeps you engaged and growing. The second element is having clear goals and immediate feedback.
That seems obvious for something like sports, but what about, say, painting?
Even in creative pursuits, people in flow set mini goals. Maybe get this color right or capture this feeling, and they have internalized standards they know moment by moment whether they're succeeding or not. Yes, this works, or no, that's not quite it. That feedback loop is crucial for staying on track.
Okay, clear goals, immediate feedback. What else?
Third, complete concentration. Flow demands intense focus on the task at hand. There's simply no room left in your awareness for irrelevant thoughts, worries, or distractions.
So you kind of forget everything else. Your problems, the time.
Yes, that's a common side effect. People forget aches, pains, anxieties. Rock climbers forget daily stresses. Surgeons become oblivious to anything outside the operating theater. This intense focus often leads to a transformation of time as well. Hours can feel like minutes, or minutes can stretch out.
I've definitely experienced that time distortion thing. And this intense focus, does it relate to control?
It does. The fourth element is a sense of control, but it's subtle. It's not about being in control of everything, like some power fantasy. It's the feeling of exercising control in a challenging situation. You feel competent, capable of handling what the activity throws at you.
So it's about feeling your skills are adequate for the challenge.
Yes. And often, this involves willingly stepping outside of comfortable routines, like those climbers who feel safer on a dangerous cliff face, where the risks are known and their skills apply, than navigating unpredictable city traffic.
That makes sense. There's a paradox there.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next?
Fifth, and this one's quite profound, is the loss of self-consciousness.
Losing yourself in the activity.
Kind of. It's more like losing consciousness of the self, that nagging inner voice asking, how am I doing? What do people think? Do I look okay? It just goes quiet.
Silencing the inner critic.
Exactly. You're too absorbed in the doing. This isn't losing who you are. It's more like transcending the ego temporarily. You merge with the activity, feel connected to something larger. He calls it self-transcendence, feeling like your boundaries have expanded.
Wow. Like a dancer becoming the dance or a musician becoming the music.
Beautifully put. And finally, all these elements contribute to the experience being autotelic.
Autotelic, meaning
It means the activity is its own reward. Autotelos, self-goal. You're doing it for the sake of doing it because the process itself is enjoyable, not primarily for some external payoff like money or fame.
like playing chess because you love the challenge, not just to win trophies.
Perfect example. The intrinsic reward is the key.
Okay, those elements paint a really clear picture. But are some people just naturally better at finding flow?
That's what the research suggests. Csikszentmihalyi talks about the autotelic personality. These are individuals who seem able to find flow, to create order and purpose, even in really difficult or boring circumstances.
You mentioned examples earlier. The prisoner poet, the nurse in the wilderness.
Exactly. Tolas Tibor finding meaning translating poetry on soap in prison. Dorothy creating complex routines to structure her days alone on a remote island. They actively created the conditions for flow where most people would just feel despair or boredom.
That's incredible resilience. Is there like a neurological basis for this?
There might be. Some research, like Dr. Jean Hamilton's study mentioned in the book, found something interesting. People who reported frequent flow experiences actually showed less cortical activation in some brain areas when they were concentrating.
Less activation, not more.
Yeah, counterintuitive, right. It suggests their brains weren't working harder, but more efficiently. They were better at shutting out irrelevant information, allowing for effortless, deep focus, like a finely tuned machine.
Wow. So if some people are just better at this, where does that ability come from? Is it learned? Maybe from childhood.
Childhood seems absolutely crucial. Connecting this to the bigger picture, family environment plays a huge role. Kevin Rathund did a study looking at teenagers who reported lots of flow experiences versus those who didn't.
And what did he find?
He identified 5 key characteristics of what they called an autotelic family context in environments that seemed to nurture this ability in kids.
Okay, what are they?
First, clarity. Kids knew what was expected of them. Rules were clear. Second, centering. Parents were genuinely interested in what the kids were doing in the present, not just focused on future achievements.
Being present with them.
Yes. Third, choice. Children felt they had options. that they could make choices even if there were consequences, they weren't just dictated to. Fourth, commitment. There was enough trust that kids felt safe to drop their guard and really invest themselves in things without fear of judgment.
That sounds vital. And the last one.
Challenge. Parents provided opportunities for increasingly complex challenges matched to the child's growing skills. They encouraged striving, not just coasting.
So clarity, centering, choice, commitment, challenge. It sounds like these families are basically teaching flow principles without even naming it.
In a way, yes. They create an environment where psychic energy isn't constantly drained by confusion, anxiety, or conflict. Kids in these homes have more mental energy free to explore, develop interests, take risks, and learn to find enjoyment in challenge. It's a stark contrast to chaotic or overly rigid households.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. How does this play out in everyday adult life? Specifically, work and leisure, they take up so much of our time.
Right, and the book really pushes back against the idea that work is inherently negative, a necessary evil.
The Monday morning blues.
Exactly. But Csikszentmihalyi highlights people who find deep flow at work. There's Serafina, an elderly farmer in the Italian Alps, who described the intricate details and satisfaction of milking her cows, pruning her orchard. She found complexity and enjoyment there.
Not just drudgery.
Not at all. Or Joe, a welder in a noisy Chicago factory. Instead of just doing his specific job, he became fascinated by the whole process. He learned every phase of the plant's operation, turning a potentially alienating job into a complex, engaging challenge he could master.
So they transform their perspective on the work.
They did. They found ways to introduce challenge, skill building, and clear goals into tasks that might seem monotonous to others. Even ancient examples like Ting, the master cook from old Chinese tales, who achieved almost mystical states carving meat perfectly. Work can be a prime source of flow.
But here's the weird thing you mentioned earlier, the paradox.
Ah, yes. Here's where it gets really interesting. Those ESM studies, the ones with the pagers, they consistently showed people reporting more flow experiences, better moods, higher concentration, feeling more active and creative at work compared to their free time.
More flow at work than during leisure. That seems totally backwards.
It does, but the data was consistent. Yet when asked, the same people almost always said they'd rather be doing something else when they were working, and they looked forward to leisure.
So our experience says one thing, work can be engaging, but our cultural conditioning, our idea about work, it says another work bad, leisure good.
Precisely. We have these strong cultural stereotypes about work being a burden and leisure being the ultimate goal. And these stereotypes often override our actual lived experience. We feel more engaged at work, but we think we should prefer leisure.
That's a powerful disconnect. It means we might be actively avoiding situations where we could find flow just because we've labeled them work.
Exactly. And conversely, we often squander our leisure time because we assume it should be enjoyable, even when it's passive and unengaging. Think about how much free time, especially in places like the US, gets spent just watching TV.
Yeah, the book mentions it's like half of American adults' free time.
It provides easy, constant information, but demands very little back. Little memory, a little thinking, a little volition. It's passive entertainment that ultimately leads nowhere in terms of personal growth or deep satisfaction.
So we need to be more intentional about our leisure too, not just default to the easiest option. Make it active, challenging.
Absolutely. And that includes how we handle solitude. Being alone can be tough for many people.
The fear of missing out or just boredom.
Both. There's a deep-seated fear of being excluded. Think of shunning as a punishment. But also, when there's no external input, no conversation, no task, it becomes much harder to maintain that inner order. Your mind can drift into anxiety or rumination. Psychic entropy creeps in.
So people try to cope, sometimes in unhealthy ways.
Right. Less effective strategies might be things like compulsive behaviors, addictions, anything to just numb the mind or keep it occupied without actually leading to growth. They just keep the mind from unraveling, as he puts it.
But the autotelic approach, like Dorothy on her island.
Yes. People who handle solitude well often create their own structure. They build mental routines, set personal challenges, engage in focused hobbies. They actively impose order on their consciousness, finding flow even when alone.
Okay, so flow isn't just a solo activity. What about relationships? Friends, family?
Definitely not just solo. Social flow is huge. Friendships are often the easiest place to find it. You share goals, activities, you get immediate feedback through conversation and shared experience.
And you can be yourself more.
Yes, friendships allow for expressive skills, Joking, storytelling, being creative together. It reinforces your sense of self, though he contrasts this with superficial relationships like maybe just drinking buddies, which might offer pleasure but little real growth or complex interaction.
And family. That seems like it could be a source of flow, but also major entropy.
Huh, yes, potentially both. The book argues family is our most crucial social environment. To make it a source of flow, you need more than just, practical reasons for being together. You need shared goals that are positive and meaningful.
Like raising kids, building a life together.
Yes, but also maintaining individuality within that what he calls differentiation alongside integration, where what affects one affects all. And critically, constantly finding new challenges. Family life naturally provides these babies, toddlers, teenagers, empty nests. Each stage requires new skills, new ways of relating.
So it requires that unstinting investment of attention you mentioned earlier. You can't just put it on autopilot.
Never. Relationships need constant tending, learning, adapting to stay fresh, complex, and rewarding. It's an ongoing project, and this can extend even wider to community involvement.
Like politics.
Politics in the original Greek sense being involved in the affairs of the polis, the community, striving for the common good, engaging in complex problem solving with others. That can be a highly challenging and rewarding flow activity.
So flow isn't just about personal hobbies. It can be found in work, relationships, community, pretty much anywhere if we approach it right.
That's the core message. But what about when things go really wrong, like serious adversity, tragedy? Can flow exist even then?
That seems like the ultimate test.
It does, and the book gives some, frankly, rather incredible examples. Professor Mihaly, Csikszentmihalyi's colleague, studied people who had suffered devastating accidents, leaving them paraplegic or blind.
That must be incredibly difficult, creating so much chaos in their lives.
Immense chaos. Yet, many of them, after the initial shock and adjustment, reported finding a new clarity, a new sense of purpose. Like Lucio, who became a regional archery champion from his wheelchair. Or Paolo, who lost his sight but excelled as a chess champion and music teacher.
Wow. How? How do they manage that?
It seems the catastrophe, while terrible, stripped away trivial concerns and gave them a very clear, urgent, and challenging goal. Adapt, rebuild, overcome. It focused their psychic energy intensely. For some, paradoxically, life became more ordered and enjoyable after the accident because they now had such a compelling purpose.
That's astonishing. It's like the adversity itself became the ultimate challenge to engage with.
Exactly. This is what psychologists sometimes call transformational coping or mature defense. Instead of being destroyed by a setback like Jim, the financial analyst who gets fired, the person confronts it. They analyze the problem, maybe redefine their priorities, learn new skills, find a new path. They turn the source of entropy into an opportunity for growth.
So it requires staying open, engaged, not just shutting down.
Yes, staying open to the environment and involved in it. Like an artist who sees an unexpected drip of paint not as a mistake, but as a new possibility to respond to. People who cope well often maintain this flexibility and engagement, allowing solutions to emerge.
Okay. This leads us towards the end goal, really. All this focus on flow, on optimal experience. How does it help us create meaning in our lives? Especially if, as you said, the universe is indifferent.
Right. If there's no prepackaged meaning handed down, as Nietzsche suggested with his God is dead idea, then what? Csikszentmihalyi's answer is powerful. Life may not have inherent meaning, but it can be given meaning.
We create it ourselves.
We create it through resolution in the pursuit of one's goals. By translating our intentions, our chosen purposes, into focused action. Meaning isn't found, it's forged through committed engagement.
And having a clear sense of purpose helps organize everything else.
Immensely. He talks about developing a life theme. Think of it as your personal game plan, your overarching goal or set of goals that defines what makes life enjoyable and meaningful for you.
Like dedicating your life to scientific discovery, or mastering a craft, or building a strong community.
Could be any of those, or something else entirely. The key is that it's a discovered belief. Something you've arrived at through experience and reflection, not just passively accepted. This theme then gives coherence to your actions, helps you interpret setbacks, and provides consistent challenges and feedback. It weaves the moments of flow into a larger tapestry of meaning.
And this isn't just about individual achievement, is it? He mentions drawing on wisdom.
Absolutely. Building on the hard-won information on how to live accumulated by our ancestors, we don't have to reinvent the wheel entirely. We can learn from philosophy, from history, from cultural traditions about what kinds of goals and activities have proven meaningful over time.
Which connects back to reclaiming words like amateur.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
that part. He points out that amateur comes from amere, to love, and dilettante from delectere, to find delight in. Originally, these words described people who pursued activities for the intrinsic reward, for the love and delight of it.
Not just for professional status or money.
Yeah.
It was about the quality of the experience.
Exactly. It's a call to value that subjective reward, the flow itself, as much as, or maybe even more than, the external outcomes.
So wrapping this all up, this deep dive into flow has shown us that this optimal state isn't some magical thing. It's accessible.
Mm.
It comes from that balance of challenge and skill, from investing our attention deliberately, finding joy in the process itself.
It's how we build order in our minds, grow our sense of self, and ultimately craft a life that feels genuinely worth living, moment by moment.
And like we said at the start, these are principles, not prescriptions. It's about taking these ideas and seeing how they apply to your life, your work, your relationships, your free time.
It really invites you to examine where your psychic energy is going. Are you investing it or just letting it leak away?
Which leads us to a final thought for you to chew on. If flow, that deep intrinsic enjoyment, rather than just external success or recognition, becomes your primary measure for judging the value of what you do, how might that change things?
How might you restructure your days from the mundane chores right up to your biggest dreams to deliberately cultivate more of that inherent reward and build a more meaningful existence?
Are you choosing to just kill time? Or are you actively choosing to cultivate it for growth, engagement, and a life truly lived? Something to think about.